that these days should be extended so that also they can be in position to also make ends meet within these days in here. But all in all, I want to say thank you so much for joining us as we start off the Friday edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV. We are live on channel that is 477 on Star Times, as well as on Zuku. We are on frequency number that is 0073, and Azam is 369. And of course, not forgetting the online platforms where you can be in position to watch us each and every mornings, Mondays to Fridays. Coming through, and this is where I want to also welcome you on board in a special way from the different parts of the country where you should be watching us from this early morning. Thank you so much, and we are going to be delving into the discussions straight away, looking at some of these which are trending on it. We'll be also letting you know of President Museveni's tour. Remember, he's touring still, and he is in Bulambuli, where he was also still traversing the Bugisha region. Recently was in Mbale. Now he has reached Bulambuli, and all is to make sure that he assesses the impact that is of the parish development model and other government programs which have been put in place so that the masses get the beauty of these programs, because nobody is to be left out when it comes to these programs. That is, as per the president, each and everyone is to benefit from this. And now with the new development government will also give survivors 17 million, from which they expect to build houses, and that is where President Museveni okayed more cash for Bulambuli landslide victims. Remember, recently many people have been trapped underneath by the debris of what we did see happening in Bulambuli, also where mudslides were able to kill people in there. And if you look at the Elgon region, most especially parts of Bugishu and other surrounding areas, many of the times they have been having issues of disaster, and that is where many people have been also questioning our response team when it comes to the disasters. But now we have seen President Museveni also say government will give more additional shilling 7 million to survivors of the recent multiple landslides in Buluganya sub-county in Bulambuli district. And the government also had promised to give the survivors shillings 10 million each and 2 acres of land at that Bunambuti settlement camp. Still, a section of the victims, also the local leaders, rejected the offer, saying the money was also too little and the money is meant for construction of houses by themselves. And that is one thing which we did see happening. Now, with the new development, the government will thereby give survivors shilling 17 million each. That is to enable them also to build these houses, and that means we are now going to be seeing this for resettled. That is on one of the lands, leaving these risky places, because many of times we see people being also relocated, but after a few days we again see them going back. It's what we have often seen, and many people also have read this, that this is their ancestral lands, and this is land which they originally knew as theirs, so it becomes very much hard for them to adapt new environments. But all in all, I want to say it is always good for you to also make sure that you move to new environments. Now, during a meeting with leaders in Bugisha region at Nabongo Secondary School in Bulambuli district, that was on Wednesday, Mr. Museveni said the government would add each beneficiary 7 million shillings. That is onto the 10 which government initially had planned to give these people, making it 17 million in. And now President is currently in the sub-region as he continues with his tours to assess the performance of the parish development model, a poverty elevation program also which has been rolled across the country. Now, President offered the additional money after the vice chairperson of Office of Bududa District, Ms. Rachel Nabudo, opposed the memo that had been read by the chairperson of Bugisu Parliamentary Caucus, Mr. Richard Wanda, at the same meeting. Now, Ms. Nabudo said the memo, also written by MPs and other leaders, had not highlighted the challenges of the survivors, as well as adding the sharing 10 million was not enough for the survivors to build their houses. And now the government also used this to build houses for the landslide survivors, but the idea was stopped this year after it proved too slow and expensive. And in 2022, we did see also the cabinet approving cash transfer as its new strategy of assisting survivors to relocate from Bunambuti to Bunambuti resettlement camp, where they are located, that is also 2 acres, and can build their own houses. And the government therefore started resettling households at high-risk also areas, where we did start starting as far as 2010. And that is something which many people have been also asking themselves on, and what exactly could be making many people die as a result of landslides. Because many of times this country still continues to lose people when it comes to issues of disaster. Recently we were hit by landslide, by the state's landfill, which also killed many people. And now, just a few months, we are also seeing another people being buried. This is also a disaster which we feel must also be able to be undertaken. And this goes back to government officials who are to make sure that the impacts or the effects can be foreseen. This is what exactly we would also want to see out of these leaders, to tell these people, because we don't want to see more lives being lost. Now, President also said government would promote urbanization as part of the measures to ensure people relocate from high-risk areas to prevent landslide-related deaths. And that is something which we did see happen. You know, the landslide-struck villages are found at the foot of Mount Elgon. While people were in their houses, they buried about 45 houses and also displaced hundreds of locals. Now the disasters also buried gardens and livestock in the affected areas. Now that's why we did see Mr. Kosea Chimono, the chairperson of Manafa district, said some people also are living in high-risk areas in the district, but they cannot move because they have no resources to relocate themselves. And that is one thing also which we did see happening in there, and we are still asking people to relocate. We always make sure they move to areas which are a bit safer to avoid such issues and such deaths, and those will also be very, very much good. And now President also said the government will go after civil servants and other people who would sabotage the program. That's according to the president. And remember, sometimes the PDM, which the president is trying to assess its impact, has been having challenges. And now the PDM, also National Coordinator, Mr. Dennis Galabuzi-Sozi, has said the government also will soon start to probe the PDM government to find out the amount of money that has been diverted. And that is one thing which we shall be also seeing and also be followed, because many of times this government money, people think it is money that can be eaten easily. Many times the mindset has been that this money can be eaten and nothing bad happens to you, and that goes back to government. That we should make people understand that this money is meant to have an impact. What am I talking about? It means that if you get the 1 million shillings, government will want to see you become a millionaire, and this money should grow to the extent of reaching as far as 10 million. Because once you enrich your financial capacity, that means many people are going to be indirectly or directly benefiting from you, because many of the times, just like a tree, the roots will also continue to also benefit. And that is one thing also why government is saying people must become financially stable. Just look at also those rich people. How many people are they employing? Look at the many people also who are doing well within your areas. Definitely the numbers of people that are going to be employing is also going to be very much high. First of all, the relatives, and then the professionals are all going to be tapping into those opportunities, and that is where government also wanted to see this also be extended, and that is why the PDM is actually coming in place. And that is why we are saying, for those who have been sabotaging this project, you risk being arrested, and at the end of the day serve jail time in there, and that would be very much bad for you. In Arua City, in Kenya Ward, we had issues, and I do understand the RCC recently ordered the arrest also of this people here, and that is exactly what we are still following up on, and we want to see how, of course, this will be ending. And that brings us to the first break of the show, where I'm going to be running for yet a short commercial break. When I get back, the discussions also, of course, will be following, and I will be letting you know of what is happening. And remember, the Karua Bridge is partially to be open today, as expected. That is for the small vehicles. Definitely, I will be checking through also how the exercise is moving, and that is where I will be connecting also to see how we can be in position to also give you that update of Karuma Bridge partially to be opened for the small vehicles. Remember, for about 3 months, many travelers have been complaining because of passing through Murchison Falls National Park, where at one time we had issues where travelers were able to protest, led by our MPs. But now we have also been able to see that many people have been left stranded, that today you can move to Kampala in 2 days. That is where we shall be also joining with the discussions in the second half. For now, we take a short commercial break. When we get back, the discussions will be able to follow. My name is Farish Majid. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions and empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from the short commercial break. We are back into this second half of the first hour, and this is the KOKOLIRIKO live show, We are 35 minutes after 7 o'clock, and today happens to be the 20th day into the month of December, and so many things have already been planned. And tomorrow, the Ringa Cultural Festival will be going on, and I do understand this has come with a lot of excitement, most especially amongst those people who belong to the Ringa tribe and also their supporters. Definitely, this will be going on tomorrow at Escape Village. I do understand many people also have been waiting for this day to come. Definitely, I will be also really checking through to see how, of course, this will be going down in Yube district, where many people have already been preparing, because yesterday we were in Midigo, also that was at Midigo Primary School playgrounds, which also happens to be a field that is the for big league side for yet another interesting game that I will be also letting you know more details of later on. But of course, it was also really a game that was also really on live broadcast from Western Television. For those who watched it, definitely you must be knowing about what I am talking about. But definitely, this is something also which I feel you, the viewer, also should be in the know of. You must therefore also know of what exactly is happening and what exactly also you should be knowing, because we want to cut across in a 360 coverage also to let you know of what is happening in the entire country, because we don't want to leave you out. Definitely, why we're always here is because we do not want to leave you out. Remember, for you to make informed decisions, definitely you must also be one person who is informed. And where do you think you get that information? The only way and the only place where you will be getting that information is actually here on Western Television, the KOKOLIRIKO live show, where we shall be letting you know of what continues to make rounds, both from the region, nationally and internationally, all in all, to also really make sure that you, the viewer, deserves to know of everything, and I mean everything also, so that you are not left out when it comes to other aspects of life in here. And that is where we shall be continuing with the discussions. And if you look at the cases of Mpox, we are also being able to see in Barara, the cases are said to be overwhelming. That means for you who are also within Arua. Arua City already, of course, has repeated this is the case. And remember, that means you also must ensure that there's vigilance, and you must also make sure that you take good care of yourself as we get to move on. And this is where we shall be also continuing the discussion and to see how, of course, this will be ending. And if you look at Mpox, definitely Mpox still remains a health threat globally, because in East Africa sub-region, definitely we have also been able to see an increase in the number of cases of Mpox, which also really can kill. Definitely, we are saying if at all you are developing signs and symptoms that seem likely to be for Mpox, for instance, developing those patches on your skin, body rash, fever, make sure that you are also really tested for Mpox, because Mpox is really a curable disease once detected early, but can also really lead to death if it is detected late. And that is why we are saying you must make sure that you are not left out when it comes to issues of treating yourself for Mpox, because Mpox indeed is still with us. And that is where we shall be also really seeing how, of course, we would also really wish to see how you, the viewer, is not also really affected by this disease, because once if it affects you, definitely you are going to be also really negatively also impacted in there. And that is where we would also really wish to see that nobody, I mean nobody, should die of Mpox, because Mpox is still with us, but still we can't be able to cure it. And that is one beauty of it. Health experts say if it is detected early, we can be in position to treat it. And that is where we would also really wish to encourage you, the viewer, to now take good care of yourself. Tell the children not to avoid, not to engage in activities that would ruin their life. First of all, activities where they will be subjected to sharing of clothes and body contact. That is where they risk, first of all, this Mpox. Sharing clothes, sharing body. When I talk about sharing body, adults will be able to understand, but we are saying Mpox is actually more dangerous when it comes to transmission. Unlike maybe HIV, where protection is enough, but with Mpox there's no protection, because it is a disease of body contact. Whatever part you touch, definitely you will be in position to get it. And that is where we are saying we must therefore also take good care of ourselves within this period where we are still having threats from Mpox. And that would be very, very much good for us to solely avoid getting those diseases. Now in Barara City, Health workers at Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital are worried over the increasing cases of mpox at the facility. Now, the acting hospital director, that is Dr. Deos Tuesje, say that they expect cases to increase on the Christmas period, yet they have limited number of staff. And that means for those who are going to be moving within this period, you risk getting mpox. For those who are moving and also planning to maybe move from Fort Portal to Mbarara, from Mbarara to Arua City, from Arua City to Mbarara, definitely, because we do not sometimes move like that. Today we have a quite number of huge population of what we call the moving population. People who work this side and they reside that side, or people who are coming from that side and they work this side. So I think it is something that's cutting across. You may be in position to also really make sure that you transfer the disease from one place to another once you do not take good care of yourself within this period. Now, that's why this Dr. Tuesje has said, although the facility has an isolation unit with the capacity to contain that's 28 patients, there is worry that the numbers might double, and that is why they are also expressing concern over this. Now, he says that he has experienced health workers who are currently 9. That is at the isolation ward, who are on contract, which are soon expiring. That means once their contracts expire, they may also lay down their tools. Dr. Nelson Mandela, the officer in charge of isolation ward, that is Mbarara Regional Referral Hospital, said they need also to isolate patients with mpox signs and symptoms to reduce the risk of spreading the disease to other people, because once you are exposed, definitely you're also going to be exposing people around you to this disease in there. And that is why Dr. Mandela added that the first mpox patients at the facility were a couple who came on October 16th of this year, and they have spent 2 months receiving treatment. Now, Dr. Peter Sebutinde, the Mbarara Regional Referral District Health Officer, said the emergency operation unit at the center is at the right time. That means establishing it would also be very, very much good. That is according to Dr. Sebutinde, who actually said that he was proud of the facilities laboratory, which has specialized also medical workers who can handle such diseases. And if you look at also such disease outbreaks, then many of the times they have issues. First of all, the mpox, when you look at it, many of the times people tend to solely talk about it in one way or the other, where many people look at it as a disease that can kill. And that is why we're saying we should also really make sure that we deviate from tendencies of also really living our lives recklessly in there. And that is one thing also really which we shall be able to also follow up on. And that is one beauty of it all. And we shall be continuing the discussions as we get to move on with the discussions up to 9 o'clock. My name is Farish Majid. And if you look at also some of the stories happening elsewhere, we are seeing Makerere University starts construction of research school home. And today, the President, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, and the world is actually depending on research. Definitely, it is also not the theory. Today, many people are into research. And that is why many of the universities, many of the higher institutes of learning have been tasked on issues of taking research, first of all, innovations, and the promotion of sciences at all levels. And that is why today, many of these activities are being supported, because the world today is revolving around issues of research, because research remains a great issue. Definitely, that would also be a great solution to the world's problems, and that is why research today is very, very much key, and we must therefore solely support it. And that is where Makerere University has taken the initiative, that is to start the construction of research home, school home. That would be quite good. And everyone say this is a good gesture for one of Africa's prestigious universities in Uganda, in there to make sure that each and everyone, maybe who comes out of there, will be moving out as people who are also already research-led, and those who will be able to look for solutions. That is the world's problems in there. Leaving that aside, NASA and Japan's building pit latrines. What does this mean to the people? Maybe where those who have been doing the work of digging the pit latrines. Now, leaders in Nansana Municipality, Wakiso District, have also banned the construction of pit latrines in the rapidly growing urban area. And according to authorities, effective next year, they will not consider building plans for developers who plan to use traditional pit latrines on their buildings. And Mr. Simon Kiguli, the Nansana Municipal Council Senior, that is planner, said the recent survey revealed that continuous use of pit latrines contaminates underground water sources in the area, and that means they may be now resolving to the Europe world, where sewages must be connected to the sewage lines directly and be transported to the sites, other than also really depending on digging pit latrines, because the developing world today is actually undertaking that, where you do not dig pit latrines, you just connect it to, let's say, National Water and Sewage Corporation, and the sewage will directly go into the treatment plants of the company, and that is where we shall see it turned into other products, and also really reducing the dangers of pollution in there. Now also effective next year, according to the officials, developers will not be allowed to erect bungalows, but only storage buildings in the divisions of Nabueru and Nansana, and the trading centers on the highways in Nansana municipality. That's according to Mr. Kiguli, who declared that. But what does it mean to the vulnerable community around Nansana if at all we are not allowed to develop now bungalows except flats? Because when you talk about the storage buildings, not many of the people within Nansana may be able to afford it. Let's look at Nabueru, which is actually one of the suburbs within Nansana. How many people do you think within this area will be in position to build the storage buildings? And how many of the storage buildings are actually in here? Because personally I've been able to move on that road, and you realize that this may not be possible as per now. And if you look at Nansana, Nansana is actually one of the divisions which is a bit huge, and one of the divisions that is very big, and that means this may also have an implication. But really we are still following up on and want to see the response of what the locals, they will be saying. That's where we did see land was being advised. And those who are not willing to develop their pieces of land as per the council plan to also sell them off and buy land in villages, or partner also with potential developers. This is really something which I feel may also have its own negative challenges, because if at all you may not be in position to develop your land by building storage buildings, you have been kindly requested to either sell this land and relocate to villages. There's still land in the rural district. You may also maybe relocate to areas which still have land in Maracha, in the rural district, in Terego, in Zombo, in a rural city as well. This is where you may also be required to move, because the standard of now as per Nansana may be too huge for you, and that is where it may be really very, very much challenging, but that is what the council there has approved, and I believe the same should also be approved in a rural city, most especially in the central division, where we are having the heart of the city, and such plans would actually do a very good one. But how many of the people within the city would actually build the bungalows, where we are still seeing threats of slums, because some of the areas already proving themselves to be slums, and I really want to assure you, if at all this is not addressed now, in the next 10 years we shall fight challenges of also dealing with these slums, because we know what slums are shaped with. And I will not want to mention some of the areas, but of course we know some of these areas have still remained, and they're likely to remain as slums. But it all goes back to the city authority, to the planning board, to the other leaders, to make sure that they draw strategies of making sure that a rural city has a reduced burden of slums, because you cannot exclude slums. Wherever you go around the world, there are always slums, and the slums are all associated with the cities. But we know the dangers of course, slums. I remember tracing way back to the history. I started maybe in geography and also SST. You realize that solely the slums actually started with issues of criminality, because many times people feel the criminals within the cities are from the slums. I don't know why, but definitely that is the mindset, and it is something also which we feel must also be erased. And now for the buildings, the owners have also been asked to renovate them to meet the standards, and Mr. Chiguli also said whatever they are going to enforce is already embedded. That is in the Nansana Municipality Physical Development Plan that was of 2018 to 2040. Now Nansana Municipality Mayor Regina Bakite called upon the government to financially support the landlords to improve their structures. And now Nansana is among the 5 municipalities of Wakiso district, and that is where we did see it being created way back in 2015. And if you look at Nansana today, it's actually one of those divisions that comprise to form Wakiso district, because if you look at Nansana, you have Karempe and many others who are also totaling to up to 5. That is also where we are able to see it come up with this new directive. But how shall we see this, and how is it going to be impacting on lives of the people who are also on these lands in there? That's where we shall be seeing and also assessing your intake. where you will be in position to solely share your thoughts, share opinions, and I will be able to solely read through it later. Now, Kabale Council meeting also descends into chaos over Service Commission appointees. This is another story which we are seeing. I don't know why sometimes when it comes to issues of appointments, we always tend to see the tempers of councillors flaring, even in some of the cities that we talk about, most especially those that have just been created. You get to realize, sorry, some of the times we tend to see issues of tempers flaring when it comes to these appointments. And now we're in Kabale district, a heated clash between Kabale district LC5 chairman Nelson Nyagabashaija and Speaker Flavia Nyinakiza Kanagizi led to premature adjournment of the district council meeting that was on Thursday, where the disagreement arose when Speaker Kanagizi rejected Chairman Nyagabashaij's motion to approve the names of 3 appointees in the District Service Commission. Now the proposed appointees were Bernard Tumukunde, who was to be appointed as the District Service Commission chairperson. We do have Jacqueline Nyaro and Peace Nyandiamu Muhaki, a retired Church of Uganda priest, who have also been suggested and also proposed to take up jobs under the Service Commission. In the now, Chairman argued that also the approving these names would ensure seamless continuation of the Commission's work once the current members' term expire. That was on Friday, 10th of this year, and that is one thing which we did see happening. And what exactly could have caused this? Because many of the times, once we start seeing clashes between the council members, then it leaves the voters with questions. Now, however, Councillor Vera Tumuhieheki suggested that the council also referred the names to a committee for further scrutiny, and Speaker Kanagizi supported this suggestion, citing the need for adequate time to review the appointments documents. And that is where Speaker further noted that rushing the process could lead to errors, as we have experienced in the past, although this might also really create a temporary vacuum, and it is better to take up our time and submit accurate recommendations to the Ministry of Public Service. However, Chairman also opposed the Speaker's guidance, arguing that the delays in submitting the names would harm service delivery in the district, as he accused the Speaker of overstepping the authority, saying, "I feel embarrassed that the Speaker is making unilateral decisions for the entire House, and this is serious, and we need to also need the freedom to represent our people," and that is where we did see a verbal exchange between the chairman and the Speaker escalated, with other councillors joining in. The Kabale District Youth Male Councillor, that is Ronald Bagamuhunda, who criticized also the Speaker for a decision describing it as partial and attributing the council's disarray to our failure to provide proper guidance. Now, despite the chairman's protest, the Speaker stood by her decision and adjourned the council meeting prematurely, and the abrupt end to the meeting left many councillors attendees in shock, with some expressing concerns about the potential impact of the district's service delivery. And this is where many possibly have been able to share their thoughts and share their opinions about this same matter, and that is where I feel the viewer also should be in the know of what exactly could also be maybe happen in there, because we may be talking about this happening in Kabale, and tomorrow it is going to happen in Maracha, and tomorrow it is going to be happening in Terego or another district also within the country in there. But all in all, we are saying the disagreements between the leaders must not always come out in public. We must also make sure some of those issues are discussed behind the curtain before they come out also to the public. And that is how we shall be seeing also those issues changing. And that is one thing which we shall be seeing, and to leave the discussion also as we are counting down just 6 minutes to wind up with this hour that will be ushering us into the second hour of the show. My name is, of course, Farid Majid. And if you look at some of the stories happening elsewhere, we're able to see Chibuli Muslim faction also planning to hold a marathon also in memory of Sheikh Muzata. And if you remember Sheikh Muzata, remember I met him during our briefing, that's of senior examinations, and he was also one of those vibrant sheikhs. I remember meeting him, that was also sometime back in 2015. That was at Gombe Senior Secondary, but definitely you realize Sheikh Muzata was also one person that when he talked, many people would want to listen to him, and now that is where the body that he associated himself with, that is the Supreme Administration of Chibuli, are now planning to hold a marathon in his memory. Now, the Chibuli Muslim faction led by the Supreme Mufti, that is Muhammad Galabuzi, has partnered with the Muslim Circle in Uganda to organize a marathon run in the memory of the late Sheikh Nuhu Muzata. And the event dubbed the new Sheikh Nuhu Muzata Marathon is set to take place, that's on February 23rd of 2005 at the Makerere University Playground, starting at 8 a.m. according to that is Mufti Galabuzi. The initiative aims, that is, to remember the legacy of Sheikh Muzata, who was a strong advocate for unity among the Muslim community. And now Galabuzi also noted that the Muslim community was surprised by the outpouring appreciation from non-Muslims for Sheikh Muzata's legacy, and that is why they are going to be organizing this run. In now, Sheikh Mohsin Bakasambe, the executive director, that's of Islamic Circle of Uganda, announced that a memorial mosque is expected to be constructed in Chigogwa, and that means the proceeds that will be coming out from this run will be channeled towards building a mosque that is in Chigogwa, which is found in Wakiso district, where Sheikh Muzata's ancestral home is. That means where he comes from deserves to have a mosque that will be also named after him. Now the marathon run will be conducted annually, and also after the constructing the mosque, other funds will be used for corporate social responsibility and helping the needy. Now Mr. Farouk Batem Muzata, the brother of the late, expressed gratitude to the partners who initiated the marathon run, to also really appreciate his late brother's contributions to the Muslim community, and that is where the kits for the marathon also have been also announced. The prices have already been announced as well, and where they will be also sold. And that means for those who are also the fans of also this man, definitely you will be knowing of where to find the kits. And that is where we shall be also leaving a discussion aside with, and still looking at some of the stories happening elsewhere. And if you look at how some of these issues are happening, then definitely you will be able to solely look at definitely some of the issues happening elsewhere, and we shall be also delving straight into that. Now, looking at some of the stories, Bank of Uganda Deputy Governor pins hist on computer. Remember, there was a money hist that also left millions and millions of money disappeared. That is at the Bank of Uganda. Now, the Bank of Uganda Deputy Governor that pins hist on computer. And today, if you look at computer, many people also hackers definitely may also hack and disappear with money. Now, the Central Bank Deputy Governor has told the House Committee that a breach also the computer automated system of his office and that of officials in the Finance Ministry. So Uganda's lender of last also resort lost, that is also shares 50 billion. And Dr. Michael Atingi yesterday also told the committee of that is on commission statutory authorities and state enterprise consultants that the money was only released by the automated computer system after the process was initiated and also okayed by unnamed persons. Who are those unnamed persons who have access to the system? These are some of the issues that we need to investigate. And how was this money stolen? Because Bank of Uganda is really not a small entity where we think money can just be stolen like that. We need answers. We need to also find out of who are those who have access to the system and what they could have, maybe what could have gone wrong when it comes to issues of this money heist, because 50 billion will really do something very, very much good for the country. Just imagine 50 billion given to Arua City or Terego. How many buildings will this maybe be able to solely build on, and how many roads will be worked upon with this money? Definitely, this is quite a huge amount of money. But of course, some individuals were able to disappear with it, and the individuals still remain unknown up to now. And that is where it is really very much saddening to see money, most especially one that belongs to taxpayers, disappearing to a tune of about 50 billion, quite huge amount, and that is where it becomes a challenge. But that is also where we're going to be leaving the discussions with, and when we come back, definitely the discussions will be able to follow. And this is the KOKOLIRIKO live show with me, Farish Majid. Our final destination, of course, remains 9 o'clock. Stay tuned. We get back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
In the dance of shadows and light lies the heart of Uganda's resilience amidst the challenges of the night, where innovation meets necessity and education refuses to be dimmed, where connection thrives in the absence of power. Embrace the power of the sun with StarTime's solar range of solutions and empower your journey towards a brighter tomorrow. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
Look out for StarTime Solar to unwrap your lighting and entertainment experience this Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
At only 700 shillings daily charge, get yourself a StarTime's S50 that comes with lighting, phone charging, strong lithium battery, radio with a flash port and a Bluetooth speaker. For more entertainment needs, get yourself a StarTime's S130 that comes with an extra 32-inch TV screen and 2 years free StarTime subscription. StarTime Solar, more than just solar.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back into the second hour of the show. We are 5 minutes down. That's the second hour. That's 8 o'clock, and we are going to be discussing with you up to 9 o'clock. And in here, we shall be letting you know of what's happening regionally. And if you talk about regional stories, the excitement amongst many travelers is the fact that today many are keenly waiting to see if at all Karuma bridge will be partially reopened today. Many people have been waiting for this, most especially those who are in the transport business, the buses, the taxis, the small vehicles. Many of them who have been passing through the Matson National Park have been complaining issues of high costs, first being incurred on fuel, then disturbances here and there, and that is why they have been praying for Karuma Bridge to be reopened. And today, many are going to be maybe sharing their thoughts and opinions as far as this is concerned, and we shall be also following up on this discussion to see how, of course, they do feel when it comes to issues of the partial reopening of this Karuma Bridge, which has been closed for the last 3 months at least, where it has been undertaking renovations and repairs, with many possibly now sharing their thoughts and sharing their opinions about how the work has been done. Recently, I've been able to see social media washed by some funny videos of some animals moving onto the bridge, and many people have been saying these are the specters. Definitely, they have been assessing how good this bridge is. Of course, that is not it, but definitely many people have been thinking that way. But of course, these animals reside there. We all know those who have passed on the road, and maybe those who have had the chance of passing in there. We have always seen this, our brothers and sisters camping in around the bridge in there, and that is one thing which many people have been excited of, but definitely that shouldn't excite you as the viewer. Now, Uganda's legal education system faces challenges. That is according to the Deputy Attorney General. Remember, this is coming at a time where recently we had the graduation ceremony of the law development centers, where I happened to also see one of my brothers, that is Council Away Sami, graduating also as part of this group, where I want to congratulate him and the whole team that is at Orderman Company Advocates also for reaching this milestone, because yesterday I was able to see him also becoming part of the group that officially graduates in there. Now the Deputy Attorney General, Jackson Kafuzi, has sounded the alarm that is on the challenges facing legal education, that's in Uganda, and he made the remarks speaking also at the 52nd graduation ceremony that's at the Law Development Center in Kampala on Thursday, where Kafuzi noted that increased scrutiny of the bar and the bench has put the future of the legal profession in a precarious position, and that is where he emphasized that the legal profession is built on a foundation of justice and equity, requiring high ethical standards and a commitment of integrity from its practitioners. That means, as a lawyer, you are always expected to be one person who is of sound mind and one person who also possesses integrity. That means issues of corruption are not necessarily to be associated with you as a lawyer, because the community is really looking up to you. And Kapuzi also highlighted the strain that's on the student-teacher ratio, resulting in effective imparting of knowledge and skills, and that means that is also another challenge which has also been able to affect many people. Now, Right Reverend Francis Sekandi, the guest of honor, emphasized the need also for law schools to have sufficient material requirements, such as well-stocked law libraries and high qualified faculty members. As also advocated for limiting admissions to the bar course, also students with higher degrees and retaining the LDC as the sole institution permitted to grant the postgraduate diploma in legal training. Now, the director of LDC, Pamela Kalyagira, reminded also the graduates that they are joining also a noble profession that requires the highest level of ethics and professionalism in there. And now, as Uganda's legal education system continues to evolve, it's clear that there are significant challenges to be addressed. Now, Kafuzi's call also to action emphasizes the need for concerted efforts to improve the quality of legal education and ensure the future of lawyers are equipped with skills and knowledge as necessary to uphold the highest standards of the profession. That is as per the development story which we did see coming out during the graduation of the LDC, where the lawyers professionally are now counsels and advocates. That means professionally now they can be able to solely process and have their practicing certificates. That is also something which we are able to see now. It means these are lawyers who must now be respected at all times, and who must also be accorded that respect, because definitely they are the ones who may also now bail you out. But that is something which we did see happening, which has of course excited many people, and I was able to see social media being awashed by messages of also the graduates and those who have been able to also really share their gowns online, and that is the beauty of graduating. That means to the parents whose children are still with you at home, let's learn to take advantage of such moments. Let's embrace them. Let's embrace education, most especially to my people in West Nile sub-region, Lango and Acholi, as far as Karamoja is so concerned, and the entire northern Uganda is really seriously. And that is where we're saying, let's embrace education. Let's leave the tendencies of early marriages to the parents. Let's ensure that we fulfill our parental obligations, because this has been identified as a factor contributing to early marriages. Then to the issues of drug abuse, let's tell our children to desist from these practices, because once a child is involved in drug abuse, there's no way this child is going to be scared of anything. I really mean anything, because definitely this is where the child may not be in position to fear anything, and that is why it may also be very, very much difficult for such a child to understand the benefit of education. And that is why we are saying, let's embrace issues of good, also really mindset change. Let's tell our children to also go to school, and we must also really educate them at all times about the beauty and about the benefits of going to school, and making sure that they also really become part of those society where there's change. I really don't know if for those who have not also embraced education, that means as we are going to be looking at some of those issues, as we're getting also to move on in the next coming days, maybe coming years, 20 or 15 years, by the time you will not be educated. I really don't know how the world will be treating you, but many times people still have the mindset that education is for getting jobs. No, it's entirely for mindset change, and that means you must also be part of also the initiative, also to make sure that we are part of the group that also will be able to also get education in the now. Now, FIA extends anti-money laundering campaign to SACCOs. That is also where we are able to see the Financial Intelligence Authority has expanded its mission to combat money laundering and financing of terrorism to savings and cooperative societies. These are the SACCOs, and this move comes after a risk assessment also really identified SACCOs as vulnerable to financial crimes. That means they must also be educated. And now the FIA has begun training SACCO managers also from the Angola sub-region, Bara City, to sensitize them, that is, on the risk of money laundering and financing also of terrorism. Now the training aims to equip SACCOs with the knowledge and skills to prevent financial crimes. Now Fiona Nawagala, the director of training and outreach at FIA, warned the SACCOs that fail also to register with the FIA, as they will be facing penalties, including that is a fine of shillings 10 million. Now Ms. Sheila Birungi, an official from the Uganda Microfinance Authority, urged SACCO members to register with FIA to avoid being found guilty of committing financial crimes. However, some SACCO managers have expressed concern that the new regulations may drive people away from saving with them, and that is why they also feel that may also have another challenge. Now the FIA was established by the Anti-Money Laundering Act, that's of 2013, to combat money laundering, financing terrorism, and proliferation, and that is also where we're able to see all those developments coming. And if you look at the issue of terrorism financing, that's another huge crime also in this country, and then money laundering is also another crime which we must also be talking about. And when we talk about money laundering, that means this is money which background cannot be explained. Why am I saying this? And you can be termed as a money launderer, first of all, when they ask you, how much money do you earn? And how much is this property costing? And if they think not much, then that means you will be likely to be charged for what we call money laundering. And that is a huge crime also in the laws of this country. It's also something that may lead you to jail, and that means we must desist from issues of money laundering, because money laundering is really something very, very much big. Sometimes where we see money is being channeled from other resources and also to be taken to other areas which may also have its own negative impact. And now, as we are counting down the minutes to the end of the show, definitely as we also counting down the minutes to the end also of this year, definitely so many things could be happening, and today happens to be the 20th. We are just counting down about 4 days. I should even say 3 days, because today, if it reaches midday, it will be done. And that means you must make sure that you take good care of yourself within this period. And that is where we are able to see police in Rwanda now, because in our 360 coverage, we are able to also see those issues arising. Recently, we were able to see the security leaders in Arua City, led by the RCC, and the acting police PRO, ASEA, also addressing the media on how people should be able to celebrate their days in there. Now, police in Rwanda district are hunting for 12 suspects, and also a part of the 14 alleged criminals who also overnight Sunday also escaped custody after removing also the bricks from the cell walls, authorities said on Thursday. Remember, some people are now on the run after escaping from a cell by removing the bricks also in one of the districts, so that's in Rwanda, where they escaped. Now, the Kigezi region police spokesperson Eli Mate told journalists that the escapees took advantage of a crack in the walls that is of Rwanda Central Police Station to free also from the cells in there, and these are suspected criminals. And the new district of Rwanda and Ruchiga lack prison infrastructure and office accommodation, where they will also have proper cells, and the cells are using are locally made. But the situation, according to the police spokesperson of the Kigezi sub-region, is being investigated and also traced down where these escapees could have run to. Now these people could have also already been hiding, and the police also confirmed that the 2 suspects have since been apprehended, following also a cell break with an internal probe now underway also to ascertain possible negligence and conduct from officers who were on night duty. Now, according to Eli Mate, some escapees had overstayed in the cells pending action of their alleged offenses from the Director of Public Prosecutions, that is of the DPP in Kabale district, and that is why they are being also kept in there. Now, police say they are doing everything possible to rearrest those who escaped so that they can also face the law in there. Now, in the last 4 years, over 120 suspects have broken and also really escaped out of the custody, and the highest was in 2020 when 8 guns went missing and 116 inmates escaped from a prison that is in the Moroto district in Karamoja sub-region. And that is one thing which we did see happening in 2020, where people were able to escape through the mountains and others also ran. And that is one thing also which we did see happening. And that means as leaders who are also given the mandate of making sure that you guard these areas, you must also really guard them with a lot of care, and you must also make sure that you are focused as you are doing your work, so that nobody who is being tried escapes, because we do not want to see anybody who is to face the law escape, because sometimes these people break the laws. And that means they must also face it as they also committed those crimes. And that is one thing also which we feel you as the viewer should also definitely know of, and that would at the end of the day make sure that also really they take good care of it. Now, leaving that discussion aside, looking at the Nile Post, Nawangwe suspends Makerere officials over letter. Another story which we are seeing happening. That means the troubles at Makerere University, one of Africa's prestigious universities, are not yet over. Recently, we were able to see some of the lecturers protesting to also really lay down their tools over appointment of one of the top officials by the Vice Chancellor. Now, while many are receiving festive gifts this season, members of the Makerere University Senate are instead being served suspension letters. This is according to what we are seeing on the Nile Post story coming. That means at this period of time where people are exchanging gifts in the different workplaces, that means today you may also be able to hand over a gift. It could just be something small. It could be as small as 20,000, where you can give your friend, and then the friend also buys something small and gives you. This is what we have been seeing, and then some organizations have been able to also hand certain things to their colleagues. But this is not the same case with Makerere University, where instead of exchanging gifts, people are being sent with expulsion letters. That is something also which we are seeing happening, where at least 3 senior administrators from the various colleges at Uganda's Premier Institution of Higher Learning have also received suspension letters, with more reportedly also under scrutiny, and that is where the Vice Chancellor, that is Barnabas Nawangwe, accuses the Senate members of overstepping their legal mandate by directly addressing the chairperson of the university's council, a role he says is reserved for the Senate chairperson and the secretary. They are now the suspended officials, including associate professors Charles Nwagawa, Jude Sempebwa, and Mr. Daniel Kiganda. Additionally, we were able to see Mrs. Harriet Namukoye and Scovia Chakwera, who also co-signed the contentious letter are said to have been as well suspended. Now, in his letters, Professor Nawangwe cited concerns also over what he described as unauthorized actions likely to cause confusion in the Senate, and that is where, according to him, these people must have also entered boundaries where they could not sort of entered because these roles are not theirs. Now, the December 16 letter, at the heart of the controversy, addressed the council chairperson, that is Lorna Magara, and other members refuted also claims by Dr. Robert Wamala, Dr. Thams Ireta, and Professor Nawangwe, and also that's where we see that the Senate erred in recommending a single candidate for the position of Deputy Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration of one of Africa's prestigious universities. Now, the assessment officials attached minutes of the Senate meeting to support also really their stance, maintaining that no mistakes also were made. Now, Professor Nawangwe and other university administrators have clashed with the Senate members over the appointment of substantive DVC FA, and if you look at also really this is a position also which has recently caused problems. Now, in May, the Senate recommended Professor Anthony Mukisha for the position, but his appointment has yet to materialize, and that means some people also could not be in the support to see that he takes over this also key position in here. Now, instead, Professor Henry Alinaitu's acting tenure was extended into a third-year contract. The university's human resources policy limiting such extensions to only 2 6-month terms. And last week, the Joint Staff Association threatened for industrial action, or where they also threatened to lay down their truths, accusing Professor Nawangwe of undermining the Senate's decision by demanding additional nominees. That is, of course, something which is happening, where Professor Nawangwe dismissed their concerns, accusing the Senate members of unprecedented also discipline, where he further criticized their transcription of the 181st Senate proceedings as lacking quorum and violating the university's communication policy. Now, the suspended also the Senate members argued that their actions solely were aimed at protecting the integrity of Senate decisions. Now, they asserted that the council requested the confirmation that the DVC-FA selection process adhered the guidelines and the fairness, and we were able to see on November 27th this year, the Joint Staff Association petition Prem 70, who serves as the university's visitor, also really highlighting persistent mismanagement and policy violation. Now, the accused administration of favoritism and impunity, also leading to a decline in staff welfare, motivation and productivity, and Makerere has not been also has not had a substantive DVC for the last 7 years, with the position held in acting capacity since Professor Nawangwe vacated their role. And that is one thing also really we are seeing coming out from the prestigious University of Africa, that is Makerere University, and of course we shall be able to solely let you know of more other developments coming out solely from that area in there, and that is one thing which is happening. And if you look at all that, definitely we shall be in position also to let you know. Now, tensions simmers in military after CDF Moz sounds out General Elwelu, another story which we are seeing, where the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, on Thursday served the most unwanted Christmas gift, that is Lieutenant General Peter Elwelu, calling the senior military harsh names, and the general also referred to Elwelu as a buffoon, completely unworthy, and also on serving in Uganda's military, very, very much also ironic at the same time. And these remarks also have sent shockwaves through the military and also the political circles, raising concerns about the internal divisions within the Uganda Post Defense Forces, where Elwelu, a long-serving officer who has also had pivotal roles such as commander of the land forces, and the most recently deputy CDF, was replaced by Lieutenant General Sam Okiding shortly after Muhoozi assumed the position of the CDF in March 2025. And Elwelu's career also has been marked by both distinction and controversy, while he has also held key positions within the military, and his role in 2016, where Kasese massacre, an operation that also left 100 people dead, including also the children, remains a dark chapter. And now the United States imposed sanctions, that is on Elwelu in 2017, over the killings, intensifying scrutiny of his record. Now the reasons behind Muhoozi's hostility towards Elwelu remain unclear, because somebody may be asking what could have caused also the issues between the first son and Elwelu in here. Now others view Muhoozi's remarks as part of the border strategy to consolidate his control over the military and assert dominance in the potential also succession struggle within Uganda's political and military elite, and the tensions between also really the two generals highlight deeper fractures within Ugandan military establishment. Now, Ero's move coupled with Moses' rise has fueled speculation of further purges within the UPDF as Muhoozi seeks to solidify his power. Now, critics wonder these developments point to the increasing militarization of Uganda's government, with the Kainerugaba family tightening to its grip on the Uganda's military and the political apparatus. Now, Ero's future within the UPDF remains uncertain, as supporters argue that his decades of service should define his legacy, while detractors solely focus on his controversial record, particularly that of Kasese. That means as a leader, sometimes you should also focus and also remember that whatever action you take now may also really trace or haunt you in the coming days, because now many people also are going to be asking, yes, you did this in Kasese, and now why is this coming and why is this happening so? And do you think that you could also maybe forget about it, because this is also going to be having an impact, if at all it is happening the way it is happening? Because at the time we did see him was taking over the position, we did see him also being dropped. And now we are seeing this kind of remark coming at this period of time, then definitely many people are going to be still asking questions on what could also be able to happen. Now, as the situation unfolds, the fallout from Wars' remarks could signal significant shifts within Uganda's military and political landscape, and that is something which we feel you as the viewer should be able to know on. Now, Sudan demands apology over General Muhoozi's controversial remarks. That's another story which we are seeing on the morning post this morning. So on the Daily Post, where Sudan has formally demanded an apology from Uganda following provocative comments made by General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the commander of the Uganda Post Defense Forces, and son to that President Museveni. Now in the post, also in his ex, formerly known as Twitter, General Muhoozi controversially claimed that he could capture Khartoum once U.S. President Donald Trump also is elected into office, and that is something which we did see where Sudan also really came out to demand an apology for. Now, this statement also has sparked outrage in Sudan, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs condemning it as also an affront, that's the international law and mutual respect between the two nations. Now, the government also has called on the African Union, regional organizations, and the international community to denounce the remarks, labeling them as a threat to regional and global peace. Now, the latest incident is also not isolated, also where General Muhoozi's social media activity has repeatedly also caused diplomatic rifts. And in 2022, his comments also suggesting that the UPDF could capture Nairobi within 2 weeks, also led to tension between Kenya, resulting also in Kenya, Kenya temporarily recalling its ambassador. Now, the remarks also drew sharp criticism and threatened also to destabilize relations between the two East African nations. And now that's also where many people also have been asking themselves why these remarks keep on coming, because sometimes also feel these remarks are being influenced. But really, why do we continuously see this happening? Because at one time we were able to see the president asking his son to stop tweeting. This is what continues to happen, because most times he makes these remarks on his Twitter. Does he do them under influence, or these are actually done purposely? This is what remains unclear, and the reason also as to why this continues to happen is what exactly also remains unclear to many people. But of course, this has not also been left with many people, most especially those people in those countries. The first he did attack was Kenya, where the president also had to apologize, and now Sudan is also demanding for an apology over those remarks. But why do these remarks keep on coming? And what is influencing, and what is the motive? Because somebody may be asking, what is the sole motive behind these remarks? This is what remains unclear, and there is no solely as to why many people may not be able to understand this is because they feel something should be done, and something could not be also done, undertaken in there, and that is one thing also which remains unclear. And where does this put the Ugandan diplomacy with neighboring countries at? It's really something also that deserves to be undertaken, because people in these countries will not be able to be happy about these remarks, because others may be taking these remarks as the meaning, and that is why we are asking, what does this imply, and what would this mean to the country's peace? That is where we're going to be taking a short commercial break. When we return back, the discussions will be continuing, where I will be letting you know of what's happening nationally, internationally, and of course in the world of sports, where we had a number of games being played. For now, we take a short commercial break, The discussions will follow later on.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with StarTimes this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. StarTimes gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
As we are still talking about threats of mpox, yellow fever is still with us, and that means we should be able to sort of take good care of ourselves and to make sure that we actually go for these vaccines. As in Kasese, health officials have also confirmed a case of yellow fever that's in Bukozo County East, prompting a call for increased vigilance among also residents to prevent the disease from further spreading. That means people around Kasese must also make sure that they protect themselves from this disease, where we must also protect ourselves. And if you look at yellow fever, just like the name yellow fever, you will be able to develop yellow eyes and yellow skin, and that will be very, very much bad for you. And now Arafat Boambade, the district surveillance focal point person, has outlined key precautions for the public also really, and that is where we were able to see people being asked to sleep under treated mosquito net, because if the mosquito comes to bite you and then transmits the parasite onto you, you will be likely to also get the disease. And people have been urged to sleep early in the morning and also wake up late, and that is also where mosquitoes would have gone. Now, Bombole also highlighted the vaccination as the most effective defense against yellow fever, urging eligible residents to take advantage of free vaccination services. That's the community health facilities, and that means for those who are within the areas of Kasese and the neighboring districts, because if you look at Kasese, we also have some surrounding districts. That means you must make sure that you take the advantage of having yourself vaccinated against yellow fever, because yellow fever is really something that can be cured. And now the confirmation of the case comes a year after the district's mass yellow fever vaccination campaign, which aimed to cover 95% of the eligible individuals aged between 9 months to 60 years. Now the initiative was launched also to mitigate the district's high-risk status due to its proximity, that is the national parks, home to mosquitoes that also carry the virus. Now yellow fever is a serious also viral disease transmitted through infected mosquito bites, and its symptoms also include fever and yellowing of the eyes, and just like that, definitely you will be able to develop yellow eyes with severe cases potentially leading to bleeding from the body openings. That means if at all it's not also treated early, you will be able to also have bleedings from the body openings like the ears, like the nose, like the eyes. You'll be able to bleed from those areas, which may also come with a lot of pain. That means you should be able to avoid all that by having yourself vaccinated. Now health authorities are urging the public to remain calm but vigilant, emphasizing the early detection and the preventive measures are essential in the management of this disease. That means you must make sure that there's vigilance, and in case you are seeing somebody with would be on most likely signs and symptoms, you should be able to make sure that you take them to the nearest health facility, so that also they can be given the kind of medicine also for them to also get cured in there. And that is one thing also which we did see, and we hope at the end of the day we shall be able to slowly see that happen. Now sex workers demand participation in fight against mpox, and that's which we are seeing very ironic, just as well as to where we are seeing this happening. Now sex workers who are at most risk of contracting the mpox, under their umbrella body, that's of Alliance of Women Advocating for Change, have called on government also to place them at the center of efforts to combat mpox, emphasizing their role as partners rather than also the vectors of the disease. Now the plea was made during the second workshop on community-led health action for mpox prevention, inclusion and network, also strengthening champions Uganda, held at OK Hotel. And that is one thing which we did see, where the workshop was organized by a work also in partnership with American Jewish World Service, which brought together sex workers and key stakeholders from the Ministry of Health and Kampala Capital City Authority to discuss ways to strengthen community-led initiatives in addressing public health emergencies. And when we talk about public health emergencies, these are actually diseases like mpox, we have Ebola. These are all emerging health threats. And therefore, we must make sure that we take good care of ourselves in order not to get this disease. Now, they also stress the need
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with StarTimes this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. StarTimes gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back, and of course we do apologize for that error, but now we're back to continue with the discussions where we are still talking about issues of mpox, where the sex workers actually are demanding for them to be taken as stakeholders in the fight against mpox. And I really want to agree with them, because if you look at mpox, it is actually a disease where they are at risk of exposure, and they are the ones who can actually make this disease spread or contain it, because for them, they are at risk. First of all, let's look at who got them. Many times we tend to associate truck drivers to them, and that means somebody will be able to go to them and move from one place to another and carry the disease. And just like maybe HIV, mpox is a bit different. Even if you have a condom, mpox can still be transmitted. This is according to information we have gotten from Ministry of Health. And that's why now the sex workers are actually saying they need engaged and involved in the fight against disease. Now they also admitted also the gap to the perception also of the sex workers as mere vectors of the disease, because many people think they are the ones who can spread disease from one person to another. Now Chiomia proposed that if the statistics highlight sex workers, they should take also central role in the response. Now she emphasized that sex workers understand the needs and those of their community, making them essential contributors to effective solutions. And nothing about us and without us. This is where she was able to add. And she highlighted also that they have well-organized constituencies capable of delivering services to their peers through grassroots female sex workers, league leaders, and peer-to-peer educators, expert clinics, community advocates, and district-level networks. And this is all aiming to also make sure the message about mpox. Now, the work executive director also asked government and partners to invest in sex work constituencies, organizations, and also institutions by providing the social solidarity for awareness campaigns, targeted materials, collective messaging, and protective gear to enhance contributions to public health. And that is one thing which we did see happening in there. And additionally, sex workers also educated, also re-educated on the modes of also mpox transmission, provided with detailed information on prevention of measures by experts from Ministry of Health and other partners. And Dr. Eric Tumuakire, the head of the community engagement pillar for responses at the Ministry of Health, explained how mpox is transmitted and encouraged also participants also to lead the fight against the epidemic. Now she emphasized the key preventive measures outlined by the ministry, including social distancing, maintaining proper hygiene, and avoiding physical contact, among others. Now Dr. Tumuakire encouraged sex workers to temporarily pause their work if they suspect or confirm mpox infection, as she advised them to seek early treatment and resume their activities only after full recovery. Now she also urged sex workers to remain vigilant and of course prioritize their health also over financial gain. That means as they are going the activity, they need to also look for the signs. Is this person not sick? They need to measure. And if at all they see the signs, let them run. Running for their life is actually the best way to go, other than thinking that they should get the money first and then other issues will follow. But sometimes people giving up and just going like that. Now she encouraged them to report any suspect cases if they notice also the signs or symptoms of mpox in a client, to avoid engaging with such clients, and even if for monetary reasons. And that is one thing which we did see happening. Now that's one thing we did see happening, and she placed also that the Ministry of Health will organize a training session to conduct screenings and involve sex workers directly as part of the mpox response team. And that's where we did see Salma Jackie, a sex worker and mpox survivor, shared how deadly the virus is and urged the government to make necessary medication available in hospitals, and most importantly to provide it free of charge. Now she emphasized that the cost of drugs is prohibitive, especially since those infected with mpox are unable to work. That is where it becomes a great concern. But really we're only seeing one sex worker in the names of Jackie Salma, and this is a lady. Now the question I would wish to also know is that you let me know, as the viewer, you're going to share with me, do we have male sex workers? This is what I really want to know, because many times when we talk about sex workers, we think about ladies first. But do we have men? Or sex worker is really a lady? Definitely I also need to be guided on that, and you as the viewer is really the best person. Let me know of that, because many times, even you move on the streets, you will realize most of the areas where these ladies are standing, there are no men. But the word is sex workers, not lady sex workers. Do we have male sex workers? This is what I really want to know this morning. And what are the signs and symptoms, maybe for you to identify that this is really a man who is a sex worker? We need to know, and that is where you should be able to share your thoughts and opinions on the comment section, where I will be going through and actually share it with the rest of the viewers. Do we have male sex workers? Is the question that I really wish to know this morning. But that is of course something which must also discourage, because it is really a practice which is very, very much wrong. The world is against it, and the books of also the books of God are all against it. The religions also really strongly condemn it, and that means as stakeholders we must also condemn this practice of sex work, and we must encourage people to work hard. And that is where I really want to say government should target these groups in the various poverty alleviation programs like the PDM, the Myoga. They should be able to get some money and live. And I do understand some people have also confessed over the years that they also left this business. And that is one thing also which at the end of the day will be good for us to see a society that is free from such practices and such also behavior in there. That would be very, very much good. Still within the mpox, UNICEF, Ministry of Health, KCA, Take Mpox and Dry Bills Community, and also really transport sector players, and these are actually key areas that need to be given focus on. Now the Ministry of Health, KCCA and UNICEF have of course intensified community sensitization against mpox by targeting bus and taxi drivers, as well as border riders in Greater Kampala metropolitan area. And if you look at all these people have been able to mention, the transport sector is actually at risk of getting this disease. Now this was during campaign dubbed as Safe Circles, that focuses on urging people to stay protected by not letting mpox also into their circles, because small actions create lasting protection. Now Dr. Robert Okecho, a health worker at UNICEF, said currently that there is an increased spread of mpox within Uganda, with 1,088 confirmed cases and 6 deaths. That's also countrywide, with Greater Kampala also accounting for most of the cases, amounting that 64%. Now Bakaita Tabule. a social behavior change communicator, that's the Minister of Health said, ask drivers and riders to protect themselves from mpox, and that is where we also wish to say mpox is still with us, and we have done also this talk, and we hope at the end of the day people also transform. Remember, Rural City, of course, has registered the case already and joined a Juman district on the list of districts that have been infected with mpox, and that means you are at risk. And the lady who also conducted this visit was actually from Elegu. That means the border points are actually another area that we should be able to solely look out to, and also make sure that we also change and also improve on our livelihoods to avoid getting this disease. And that brings us to the end of the discussion. But of course, looking at what's happening in the world of sports, as always, before we get to move on here, yesterday we were in the district in a game that was also in a live broadcast on Western Television, where we are able to see 13 days of sheer conservation tournament climaxing, where University Future Project we are awarded winners over Midigo Sub-County, where this game was played at also the Midigo Primary School, which also happens to be the playground that is for a big league side, that's Midigo Calvary Football Club. And we were able to see this game also ending by a 0-0, and the goal scored in the first half was able to separate the sides, where the University Future Project, which is also playing for the second edition, becoming the winners. And remember, the third edition we are actually climaxed yesterday, and next year we shall be seeing the fourth edition. And the organizer of the tournament I was able to interact with also were able to tell us that this is all aiming to raise awareness, and they identified sports as one of the tools that will reach the milestone, and that is why they came up with the idea of organizing the Shea Nut Conservation Tournament, which also was able to take about 10 days, where the teams were camping at Midigo Secondary School. But of course, we were able to see it now climaxing yesterday, where people were awarded, and I was really impressed to see one of the foreign legendaries of the game of football really being appreciated and also being acknowledged. And I am talking about Agao Rashid, a former player also played for Onitoga Football Club, played for Maroons Football Club, who also featured for the region, that is West Nile side, in the fourth drum. And we were able to see him also being honored in these awards, which was really something very much good. And it's always good and beautiful for us to honor the legacies of people who have made us proud, so that also those who are still in junior ranks can be able to solely get an opportunity of also growing their talent. And remember, this is a game that also aims at building talent of the young players, because it is entirely dedicated for players who play right from the 4th division downwards. That means if you have already played professional football, you are not required to play. Even if you played and you already left, you are still not allowed to play these games. It is aiming at identifying talent, and West Nile TV was actually brought on board to give a live broadcast of this game, which also aims at sensitizing and also letting the world know of what West Nile is having. And that's really something which we did see as very, very much beautiful in there. Well, what are different accolades and different prizes, all aiming to raise awareness about this game. And next year we hope this will be better, because last edition had 10 teams, this one had 13. That means in the next edition we will also wish to see more than 20 teams, because these are teams that are selected from the Shea Nut catchment areas. And when I talk about the Shea Nut catchment areas, I mean areas where the shea tea is still very much. And in the next edition, we wish to see teams from Moyo, from Ajumani, from Adiokolo, all being part of this, because this edition will add one team from Koko and another one from Moyo to all be part of these games in there, which is really quite interesting, and it brings people together, and we're able to see that also really vivid in the district in there. And that is how the Shea Nut Conservation Tournament was like, and that is one thing which we did see happening. And definitely we shall be able to sort of let you know of when of all development. Now looking at also the English, some of the games that you played yesterday, and we were able to sort of see very, very many games. Just to give you a hint, and that is where other games also really will be also really let you know of by, that is the Wishing Time team that will be coming through from the 2 to 3 p.m. as Owen Zaga and Linda Suzu will be giving us comprehensive and detailed analysis of what is happening in the world of soccer. But I really want to show you that Real Madrid have been crowned champions. They won a trophy which also many people were not able to really see of, and that is one thing which we did see happening. And we hope at the right time also the team of Whistle Time will be here to give you the details and comprehensive analysis of what is happening in the world of sports, because usually we say without play Jack is a dull boy. There's a saying that also really work without play makes Jack a dull boy. That means we should also have issues where we must also give some time to play. Now that is also something which would be good, and you hope at the end of the day you also really pick something. And also really we were able to see the quarterfinals of the EFL going down. Tottenham Hotspur were able to beat Manchester United by 4-3, and that is something which we did see happening also in there, and many other things also we were able to be taken as well. That means we shall be seeing it happening. Meanwhile tonight, we shall be seeing also the games that's in La Liga and Bundesliga, as we shall be following up and more details of what is happening in the world of sports, right from the regional leagues up to the international scene, will be provided to you by the Whistle Time team that will be coming through, of course, from 2 to 3 p.m. as Owen Ezaga, together with Linda Suzy, will be here to give you that. For now, we are starting with the discussions here, and we want to sort of wish you a very good weekend. And we hope as the days are running down, you must make sure that you celebrate your day with caution. Make sure that you're vigilant, first of all, in places where you're going to, and avoid over what we call unnecessary spendings, because January is just around the corner, and today happens to be the 20th. That means we are counting down 10 days to end this year. But how is this year ending, and how prepared are you for the beginning of next year, is what you as the viewer should be able to sort of make an assessment on. And therefore you should be able to spend with caution and spend wisely. And really from me to you, have a blessed weekend, because we have come to the end of the weekend, and this is the last edition of the KOKOLIRIKO Live show for this week, as we shall be bouncing back on Monday with full of energy, with a lot of discussions, as we all aim to keep you personally informed, entertained, and as well as educated, because this is why we are here. We're out.